Why, hello there, Knife Tale here. I hope this video finds you well, and welcome to a summary of a knife I have done a full review on. This knife is the Bestechman Angry Owl. The full review will be linked down in the description, should you care to see the full length thing with more rambling, more specs, more all that stuff. This is a great knife. In fact, this is a knife so good that I put it in my top 10 knives of the year. You can check out that video if you want. It's got 3 and a quarter inches of blade and 7 3/4 overall. It is a pretty medium-sized knife, but this thing is a budget knife, and it was good enough to be in my top 10 knives of 2025 because really this thing is just doing so many things right. And I've just kind of liked it more and more as time passed. It's relatively simple, but there's a lot of nice little touches here. And there are some variations of like options. It's very similar to the Good Boy by Bestech, though I think that's a button lock. It's got some very similar overall. I think that's the same designer even. It's got some very similar overall appearance and aspects, and honestly handle shape. So there might be more options than you think, even though this technically only comes in D2 blade steel and different colored G10s. Well, there's a black blade too, but different colored G10s. This one happens to have the peel ply laminate carbon fiber over the top, which I believe I said in the review I don't normally like, but with the little details on this handle, I think it really made it pop, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. But there are tons of colors and variants for this. This knife is a top liner lock, front mounted, on bearings, obviously. It's got pretty darn great action, and frankly, it's got an addictively snappy D10. It's just, there's something about the quality and the feel of this thing that's just, it's really good. It's a pretty reasonably strong D10 too. I can't say that's going to be for all of them, but just the sounds and everything make this pretty darn addictive. Now, the D2 blade steel, of course, is not corrosion resistant, which is going to turn some people off, but, well, what can you do? Take care of it with maybe some frog lube or some nano, or not nano oil, but something that protects the blade. And if you, I guess, want to use it for food prep, though D2 is not exactly a blade I would suggest for that. You can use something like the frog lube or something that's food safe. It has a that's a pretty darn thin edge, a decent drop, not quite a full flat grind, but pretty close. It is a sort of, yeah, that's a drop point, very little drop point, but it is a drop point. It does have this swedge up here, which I think is personally what gives me the Angry Owl vibes. This to me looks like, could like kind of look like an owl beak, and then you got the little angry hole there. But this swedge does make it pretty thick up front, so the piercing, it doesn't have like an acute edge with thin behind it, or it doesn't even usually take thin behind the edge. It just usually takes, you know, an acute edge. Oh, geez, that's dirty. An acute edge to make a good piercer. This one doesn't pierce quite as well, and the tip is up a little bit high, though you can definitely get to it. That is like a little bit of its downside, but at the same time it gives you some strength, and it does allow you to do some other things with the tip. So I think it's a trade-off, no big deal there. The sharpening tool and plunge grind is something that every single company needs to start doing. I mean, there's absolutely no reason if they can do this on this $45 knife. I got mine for $34 on sale. The plunge grind is basically a straight drop down. And all of this is life. Every little bit of it. You see, it looks like it hits the button. It doesn't. It does not touch the button. The stop pin is what's actually stopping the blade, and it is internally mounted to the blade itself. So, yeah, the stop pin is great, and the sharpening tool and plunge grind is perfect. This is, if they, like I said, if they can do this here, why aren't we seeing this on almost everything? Even if it's just Bestech doing it. Why not? We need to see better sharpening tool and plunge grind, people. you should be able to sharpen your knives. You should. And if a stop pin's hitting right behind the edge, it's going to start messing with how it closes and sits in the detent, and the sharpening choil is going to get a giant smile, or the plunge grind is going to get a giant smile, and yeah, it's just something that needs to happen more consistently. Companies need to just take it into consideration, or just start doing like the straight drop down plunge grind across the board. As I said, $45 budget knife. If you can do it here, there's no reason you can't do it on a $300 knife. The hole aperture is basically the only method for actuation, though of course you can use the button. The jimping on this thing, fine. Wire jimping, perfect. Super grippy, super comfortable at the same time. I talked about the nice little touches. On the spine, you can, and actually on the flat here, though of course the flats are almost completely hidden, you actually have a very attractive, like, frosty stonewash. That's like a nice little touch. You don't really see that anywhere else. In fact, you don't really see it in the opening position on the face of the blade because it all hides, and yet they did it anyway. It's a nice little touch. Bestechman logo, fine. I don't mind that on a budget knife. There's also, I think this is technically the Bestech logo too, and yeah. I don't necessarily think it needs to be in two places if that is their logo, but fine. Again, budget knife. The liners are full. We've got standoffs, deep carry, reversible pocket clip that is very deep, and yeah, it's got a little bit more flat on the end than I like to see, but it's got good flex and it works. So would it probably be better if they just cut off this and left it up as a continuous rise kind of thing? Yes, but fine. Fine. Flat screws too, so that's always a nice thing. Where was I? Lanyard hole. The button actuates the liner. Very nice, easy, very simple, and it doesn't have that sort of like sweet spot where you have to go either too far or not too far, I should say, where it kind of just doesn't want to move. You have to hit that sort of exact spot. No, this one's really easy. Just press it and it drops. You can choke up. Pretty darn comfortable. Pretty darn neutral, but pretty darn ergonomic. It is flat scaled, though the texture does, or I should say the sort of raised area does offer just a little bit of dimension to it. And the clip, I have to say, is very, very comfortable for a sort of folded over budget style clip. The only thing that I found about this knife is that this button likes to kind of unscrew just a little bit, just enough that you can sort of feel it a little bit like moving. And occasionally I have to screw it back. I mentioned in the full review that I could probably, or definitely, put a little bit of Loctite in there. I just haven't done it. It's not really caused a problem, and it's not bothered me, so oh well. Overall, this thing is pretty darn spectacular for $40-some. Links, I'll definitely be able to link it down below somewhere. Honestly, that's it. It's straightforward. It's great, but it's an excellent budget knife with some nice little quality of life and execution details that raise it above what you'd think, in my opinion, for this very straightforward knife. So I'm going to end things here. Say thank you for watching. Consider liking and subscribing to help out the channel. Hopefully we continue to grow in this 2026. Stay warm if you are in the very, very cold. It is pretty brutal out there. So have a great day, and I will hope to see you in the next one. See ya.